One topic which often surfaces whenever veganism is being discussed is the comparison between the Second World War Holocaust and the ongoing Animal Holocaust. Now, if there are any pre-vegans present, what tends to happen often is that they will pounce on this discussion and say how despicable the vegan is being, how horrible we're being, how kind of discriminatory we're being, that we are comparing Jewish people with animals. Now, of course, this is not what we're doing at all. What we're doing is comparing discrimination, because at the heart of it, all discrimination is wrong, and I think this is something that, if we truly look into our hearts, we all know that this is true. Discrimination is wrong. So when we're never born with a tendency to view people of a different religion to our own family as being somehow or another inferior. We're never born as a racist, we're never born as a sexist, and we're never born as a speciesist. All of these things are things which we learn through growing up in the environments that we do. We tend to adopt the belief systems of the family and society that we grow up in, of the culture that we live in. And in most cases, we tend not to question these belief systems. So we learn to be discriminatory, and we learn to be biased towards other beings and other people, based purely on the fact that they're not the same as we are, and they don't belong to our group that we belong to. Now, I think if one bears that in mind, making a comparison between the Animal Holocaust and the Holocaust of the Second World War is a very valid thing to be doing, because during the Second World War, which went on for 6 years, by some estimates there were as many as 11 million people killed during the Holocaust. Now, if you look at what's going on now with animals, it only takes somewhere between 40 minutes and 1 hour for the same number of land animals to be killed. That's 11 million animals every 45 minutes roughly. This is an outrageous number. I mean, we know how horrible it was, the fact that 11 million people were killed during the Second World War over 6 years, but 11 million animals are killed every 45 minutes. And this is going on, day in, day out, week in, week out. It's just horrendous. This figure is crazy. And this figure is only the land animals. So we're looking purely at basically the cows and the sheep and the pigs and the chickens. If we factor in also the fish out there in the oceans and in the rivers, which there are no statistics for, because basically the statistics are by the tonnage. We know how many tons of fish are pulled out from the ocean, but we don't know how many individual fish they are. But by doing a bit of mathematics, you can figure out that the number actually runs up to over 1 trillion. So over 1 trillion animals killed every year by humans for our lust for flesh. And this number is such a mind-bogglingly huge number that it really needs to be sort of like put into a way so that everybody can understand it. Because 1 trillion, if you were to look at it in terms of seconds, and say 1 trillion seconds, that's actually 30,000 years, which is such a huge number that it's even difficult to believe that it's true. But it is true. Please go out there and search and do some research about it, and you'll find out that over 1 trillion animals are killed on a yearly basis because humans have this lust for flesh, because we view animals as commodities and we don't really think about them and their lives at all. And this is something that we all should be doing. You know, we should all be examining what's happening here and questioning ourselves whether we really want to be a part of it. And I think it's very true to say, even though it would take some years for this to be proven, that one day there will come a time that humans will look back at what we've been doing to the animals and the animal holocaust, and our ancestors, not our, sorry, our um, grandchildren and great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren will be wondering how we ever let that happen, how we could have let that happen. Just like people today wonder how we could have let the Holocaust happen. How did we do that? How do we let it happen? So really, you've got to ask ourselves, where do you want to be? Do you want your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, to look back at you and think, well, grandma and grandpa, they were also contributing towards that Holocaust? Or would you rather they look back at you and think they stood up and said no? Because I think we're all part of that Holocaust to a certain extent, and we all have been, certainly to greater or lesser degrees. And I mean, I know myself, I was born into a situation where I never questioned any of it. I was part of that Holocaust, and I'm deeply ashamed that it took me so long as it did to actually break free from that way of thinking that it's okay to take somebody's life. It's okay to take a knife to somebody's throat. And I think that we owe it to ourselves to really kind of look into that deeper. But there's a popular TV show which is on at the moment. We don't watch it ourselves. It's called Game of Thrones, and quite recently, I think one of the characters. Well, I say recently because I don't know when it happened, but one of the characters in this TV show told his son that if you are going to kill somebody, then really you have a moral right to look that person in the eye, because if you can't look them in the eye when you do that, then you don't really have the right to be killing them. And I think this is something that we need to be doing with animals too, because if you can't take a knife to the throat of a pig yourself, then why on earth are you expecting somebody else to do that for you? Because the bottom line, this is what's happening, and there's no way getting around it. I think we all need to open our hearts more. We need to view this subject with not only open-minded but open-hearted. We need to understand what's going on and really kind of question the belief systems that we've been taught not to question. Thank you. I hope that's something that you can use. Casey, I don't know, I'll send it to you and see what you think. And as always, blessings on your parents, on your family. Actually, yeah, okay, thank you very much. You have a nice day.